Hello, bariatric care friends, and welcome to this episode of Bariatric Care, the podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking about improved health and a better life. Your post-weight loss, wait for it, your post-weight loss Drishtis. Being prepared and patient. That's a long title. I had all kinds of things I wanted to stick in there, so I just stuck them all in there. What difference does the title make? But I hope I caught your ears with the word Drishti. And I want you to be a little extra patient with me tonight and my voice. I am not in the best health tonight, but you know what? The show must go on. And I love the podcast, and I feel that it is important to get the podcast out on time. I could have run an old one, but I wanted to do this one. So here we are. We're going to be talking about the Drishtis. What the heck are Drishtis anyway? And why am I talking about such a funny sounding word on the Bariatric Care podcast? What the podcast episode is really supposed to be about is about being prepared and being patient, because it requires both of those things to be successful long term as a post-op. So being prepared and being patient. We're going to talk about those within the context of the funny word Drishti. And I especially want to hone in tonight on clearing away the clutter of the diet mentality, because it takes us away from our Drishti, and it takes us away from focusing on what you say is important to you. All right, so let's get into this word Drishti. And in Bariatric Care, the full online program, we come up with words of the year. And our word of the year as a group is effort. So effort is the word of the year because I ran across something last year and it said, effort is the best indicator of interest. Effort is the best indicator of interest. So if you're interested in doing something, the effort you put into that really tells people the level of your interest. And you know how I joke a lot about wanting to learn Spanish? Well, I am doing it. I actually got the podcast, or not the podcast, but the app, paid for a lifetime membership. And then my grandson told me I could have got it for free, but whatever. And I'm actually doing the little 10, 15-minute segments, and I'm going to get this Spanish thing taken care of because it's something I wanted to do forever, and I have Spanish-speaking grandchildren. So that is one of the efforts that shows my level of interest. I'm putting forth the effort because that's how I know whether or not I'm interested. And the same goes for all of your things, because we're talking about a healthy lifestyle, maintaining a healthy weight. In this podcast specifically, what are your efforts? Are they consistent? Do they come and go in spurts? Have you started with great effort in the past and then you've waned? That's what we want to prevent. That's what Bariatric Care is here to help you with, is to maintain your consistency. Stay strong with the effort even when you don't feel like doing the things. So effort is our Bariatric Care word of the year. My personal word of the year is Drishti. And it took some time to come to this word, and I came to the word because the term Drishti is a term that I learned in yoga, and it means maintain your focus. A Drishti in the practice of yoga is maintaining your focus on a non-moving point. It's a fixed point, and what having that specific focus helps you to do is maintain concentration, stick to the point of what you're trying to do, maintain balance. And when we take our eyes off of our Drishti, off of our focal point, we lose our balance. We're not as steady in our pose. And so Drishti is a really important term in the yoga world. So Drishti we're going to use in bariatrics tonight, in the bariatric care world, because when I talk to people pre-surgically, when I talk to them about what they want to do, what are their reasons for wanting to lose weight. And I want you to think about this not only for your most recent weight loss venture, if you're having a bariatric medical procedure, a surgical procedure, or if you're taking one of the GLPs, or if you're starting a medical weight loss program, whatever you're doing, I want you to think about what your goals are. And I want you to think about what your goals were in the past when you wanted to lose weight. Now, I can tell you that in the thousands and thousands of evaluations that I have done with bariatric patients, nobody has told me, not one single person has told me that their main point, their main focus, the thing they want to keep their focus on, the reason that they're having this is because they want to hit a specific goal weight. 20 years, nobody has told me that. And yet, I am shocked to find out that that diet mentality, which includes that focus on the scale, trips people up in focusing on what their actual Drishti, their actual whys for wanting to lose weight are. So chances are that, and bear with me here, I'm going to pause my sound for just a second. A little coughing issue caused by the pneumonia I currently have. Anyway, so the Drishti, the things people tell me they want when they set out to have bariatric surgery, or when you've lost weight before, typically it's about wanting to improve your health or prevent poor health, because maybe your family members who struggled with weight had a lot of health problems and you want to prevent that, or you want to come off medications, or you want to improve, the diabetes that you're struggling with, or you want to get rid of the high blood pressure, or whatever it happens to be. But for a lot of people, their why at the beginning of a weight loss journey is absolutely related to getting healthier. The other thing people tell me is they want to be more active in their lives. They want to enjoy the things that they enjoy in their life. And that may be, getting outdoors and being active with loved ones. It may be taking your dog to the dog park. It may be taking your kids or grandkids to amusement parks, or your own self to an amusement park and riding the rides. It may be travel. It may be just being able to improve your mobility so you can tend to your tasks of daily living. So whatever it is, think clearly about what you have told people, the medical people, your friends, the reasons that you want to get weight off and keep that weight off. And I want you to think of those words as your bariatric Drishti, your focus. This is what I want to keep my eye on. The prize is improved health, better quality of life, doing the things that I want to do, increased mobility, hanging out with the people I love. So your Drishti are your whys, but you have to think about it with a specialized term. And that's why I'm introducing Drishti, because it so accurately says what we're going for here, which is an absolute steady focus on the why and not getting lost in the things that tend to pull us away from our whys. And I'll talk about what some of those are in a minute. So the Drishti needs to remain your focus. And there may be some changes as time goes by, but really, let's keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing is the reasons you decided that you wanted to put a lot of time and effort into your health in the first place. So we want to keep track of those whys. I talk a lot about being prepared as a bariatric patient, particularly if you're having a surgical procedure And a lot of people believe they are prepared. They believe they're prepared because they had a nutrition class or 2 or 3. They believe they're prepared because they've talked to the surgeon once or twice. They saw the PA a couple of times. They've talked to, I'm prepared, I'm prepared, I'm prepared, I'm prepared. And yet the people who are post-op know that there's no accurate way to prepare. And this isn't anybody's fault. It's part of life. You can't be prepared to raise a child until you have one. You can have an idea, you can read all the books, you can't be prepared to do all the hard work it takes to get a degree or a promotion or whatever it is until you actually do the work. So we do the things we think we can do to prepare. But a lot of this stuff, like the nutrition class, I talk to people after they've seen the dietitian and they seem to have no clue about what they were taught in terms of what they're supposed to eat or the ways they're supposed to eat after they have a surgical procedure. Or what is the lifestyle supposed to look like if you opted to have a GLP-1? It's a lifestyle no matter what. And behind that, I think I'm prepared is what I really want, and that's to get that weight off. So let's talk a little bit about preparation and what that means. And the thing is about preparation, you're like, well, I've already had my surgery. How can I prepare? You can prepare for the life changes while you're doing them, because this preparation business is not just about what do I do the day of surgery. It's about how do I make these changes for life. And we can't be prepared for all of these things. So I want you to think about how short-lived some of this preparation we think that we have taken care of is. So you think you've been prepared by the dietitian. You've had maybe 3 sessions. But think about how in elementary school, every year you learned a little bit more about states of matter, or you learned a little bit more about the concepts of math and you built on them. Preparation means repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. And I know that a lot of what is on tonight's podcast is actually repetition, but that's okay with me because I know that repetition is part of preparation. The more often you hear something, the more likely it is to pop up in your mind when you're in a situation. But success, meeting your goals, getting your way to that drishti of improved health, better quality of life, it's all about repetition. It's about dedication to the learning. It's about the determination of doing those things. It's repetition, dedication, determination. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And today, Laura did yesterday a daily take, and she was talking about effort, and Michael Jordan has done a lot of talks about effort, and a lot of other professional athletes have as well. And they talk about, effort is the thing that distinguishes most of the top of the top of the top. There are a lot of people who are born with remarkable genetics for athletics or for music or for ballet or drawing or whatever it is. But the people who stand out above the rest are the people who put forth the extra effort. And you can read about this in sports psychology and any kind of psychology of winning. And it's about the effort, the dedication, the doing when you don't feel like doing. So preparation is not just about here's what you need to know when you start taking a GLP-1. Here's what you need to know is going to happen as far as vitamins when you have bariatric surgery. It's about how do I keep myself putting forth the effort when I don't feel like it. That means I have to be dedicated and put forth the effort into learning about how to maintain motivation. I have to be willing to put forth dedication to reading about how important is a positive mindset. I have to put effort and repetition into reading and learning and listening to things that remind me how important self-talk is in this process. So when I talk about preparation, what is it we're preparing for? All right? You think you got it. You think you had all the classes. You think your friends have all told you what you need to know. But here's what I want you to think about. My husband talks about this a lot because we're in a stage of life where we really like to travel, and we spend quite a bit of our time playing let's pretend we're preparing for our next vacation. And he says, he sometimes chuckles because when you think about going on a vacation, you're thinking about you're going to be on the, Paradise Island, or you're going to be in the mountains, and you're going to be having this glorious ski trip, or you're going to be in Bali, and you're going to be on one of those amazing huts that sits out over the water, and you're going to have your own butler and your own maid, or you're going to go camping, and of course everything's going to go beautifully, and it's going to be a lovely trip. And the thing is, the vision in your mind versus the reality of the actual vacation rarely match up. And when they do, what a joyous occasion that is. But what really happens is you end up rushing to not be late for your plane, only to find out your plane has been canceled, only to find out it's been changed to a different gate, only to find out that they left before you got to the new gate, and now you're starting over from scratch. Can't really prepare for that, right? Or you get to the place you're going to go, and they've given your rental car to somebody else. Or if you're like me, you put your stuff in a rental car, and you decide you don't like that rental car and you want to get a different rental car. So you switch rental cars, but you leave your computer in the original rental car, and that brings up all kinds of problems, right? So you can't really prepare for all of the hassles that are going to happen on a vacation. And that dream of a silky smooth vacation where it's all about the gorgeous sights and it doesn't rain and the aurora borealis is shining bright for you every single night, and you don't have any windstorms and you don't have any rain, and it's the whitewater rafting, it's a perfect day for it, and you go out and you go salmon fishing and you catch 25 of those suckers, and it's all perfect in the imagination, and you're prepared for all of that, right? But you're not prepared for all the things that tend to go wrong. And that's just life. So when you think about a weight loss journey, we don't tend to prepare for some of the things that are actually going to happen. And some of the things that are actually going to happen, even though we don't want to think about these ahead of time, are things that people who have been through the process will tell you absolutely do happen. But who plans, who prepares for things like stalls? Your weight stalls. Who prepares for that mentally? Are you prepared? Okay, when I stall, this is how I'm going to handle that. Well, weight stalls happen. Who plans for people not responding to your weight loss and all the changes going on in your body and the way you're behaving? What happens when people don't behave the way you planned for them to? What happens when people are snarky or start leaving you out? Or start saying that's all you think about anymore and you've changed? And have you prepared for that? Because it's part of the reality. Who plans for having your motivation wane? Now, I'm guaranteeing that most of you have done previous weight loss programs of one sort or another. And in those, you've experienced the motivation wanes. It's like, oh, I was so pumped at the beginning, and now I've got this new hope. It's this surgery, it's this medication, it's this next best thing, and it is going to be the be all and end all, and I can't wait. Well, that is not exactly how it works, because things go wrong. People don't behave the way we want them to. We stall. We regain, our weight fluctuates. We don't always prepare for the things that we know inevitably happen, right? Who plans for emotional eating to win out? Well, if you've struggled with emotional eating before this next best thing, you're going to struggle with it at some point in time afterwards. So these are the kinds of things we need to prepare for along the way. So it doesn't mean, oh my gosh, you have to have everything prepared for prior to starting the journey, but you have to keep your learning caps on and be willing to prepare for things that other people can tell you are going to come down the road. You are going to probably fall into emotional eating if that's something that you've struggled with before. Who plans to fall back into negative habits? Nobody wants to think that they're going to. This time is going to be different. Of course it is. But it isn't unless you learn something new. Because until you learn something new, you just repeat what you know. And if you've fallen into negative habits in the past, and that's why you quit losing weight or you regain the weight, that's likely to happen again. And there's no magic, regardless of the weight loss method, that will prevent you from regaining if you don't develop the healthy lifestyle. So we got to talk about how to prepare along the way. First of all, the Bariatric Care Program is designed to do just that. Through its education, through its experience with people who have been down the road with medications, with weight loss surgery, with both. And they are encouraging you and educating you about what you can prepare for and giving you ideas about how to prepare for those things so that you remember your Drishti. Why did I want to do this? Why did I want to do this? Why did I want to do this? You have to keep your eye firmly focused on the Drishti, the goal. All right, so how do we prepare? How do we prepare? You have to get real. You've got to get real. And bariatric centers, and I love them, many of them are really, really, really good, and some of them are not so good. The really good ones are going to give it to you real. They're going to tell you, these are the things that you can realistically expect, and these are the things that you need to know are going to be stumbling blocks, because this is not all a bed of roses. So the programs that tell you these things and provide options for you to work your way through and prepare for those obstacles are the very best programs. And we are very fortunate in bariatric care to have those programs as part of bariatric care, because they're the ones who care and want to get that kind of help for their patients. But you have to get real. And one of the things you have to be real about and prepare for that I mentioned already is that this is not going to be a completely smooth passage. It just isn't going to be. And you know that because none of the weight loss programs or processes you've attempted to lose weight on and maintain weight loss on in the past have been. This isn't an easy thing. So it's a thing that can be managed as long as you're willing to put forth the effort, hence that being the word of the year. And you also need to understand that people are not going to live up to your expectations in relation to your weight loss. And as part of bariatric care, we're doing a book discussion on the book Let Them by Mel Robbins in early February. So you're going to want to join us for that. It's open to the public. You can find it on all of our social media. But you can sign up to be part of that. But that's fitting in here because not everybody's going to be as excited about your weight loss as you want them to be, or as you are, or you would have hoped they would be. Not everybody's going to support you in the ways that you had hoped or said they would, or ways that you would want them to. So we have to learn in any endeavor of our life where we have expectations of other people that we have to manage our expectations, let people know what our expectations are, and then let them follow through or not follow through. We don't get to control other people, but then we have to learn to, we have to prepare for when people don't live up to our expectations, or if people let us down, or if they, just don't buy into it, and they have the right not to. So we have to understand that's another thing we have to get real about. Not everybody is going to be on this journey with you or excited for you about your journey. Another thing that you got to get real about and work on preparing for throughout your life journey is the fact that you probably, like most of us, carry a lot of issues within yourself. And you would be wise to explore these, because any issues that interfered in your weight loss journey before are going to interfere in this weight loss journey again in the same ways if you haven't learned tools for working through them. And I'm talking about things like negative self-talk, which is a huge problem for most of us. And learning tools to deal with that negative self-talk is critical if it's not going to bog you down again. And I'm telling you what I've told you 1,000 times. If you don't believe you're going to succeed in this, you're not. That's the end of that story, and we all know that lesson. But we have to prepare ourselves, if we're caught up in the negative thinking, to extricate ourselves from that pattern of thought so that we do have the ability to overcome that negative thinking. So we've got to explore our own internal issues. Some of us carry a lot of shame from our past. We were name called. It may be in relation to weight or 1,000 other things, but shame will block our progress. So we've got to learn to value ourselves and treat ourselves with value. Listen to some prior podcast episodes on that one. Here's some other things you need to be prepared to be patient for. And patience is not something we want. We want to get that weight off. We want it now. You need to be patient when your weight loss stalls. Because, friends, it's going to stall. We talked about that in the realities, right? So be patient. And when that happens, or before that happens, if you're wise, you will talk to people who are further along in the journey and say, tell me, when that happens for me, or if that happens, most likely when that happens, what are some ways to get through that? What are some things I can tell myself? What are some things that I can do? And Laura gave that away yesterday in her daily take. What you do is you keep putting forth the effort. You keep putting forth the effort. And even if you don't get the outcome you want for that day, you're still building the muscle. You're still putting forth the repetition. You're still doing what needs to be done because it'll all catch up. The effort is what wins out over time. The dedication, the consistency, the day after day, the patience. So you have to be prepared and you have to be patient when you hit those weight losses, when the weight loss plateaus, and when it stops, which we will also talk about. You have to be patient when your weight fluctuates, and it will fluctuate. There are prior episodes about whether or not you should use the scale. Do what works for you as long as it's not determining your worth for the day or the week or the month or your life. Are you prepared, and can you be patient when your motivation wanes? And can you push through even though you don't feel like it? You don't feel like it. And I will say this is one of my strengths. I don't know that I really felt like recording a podcast tonight, but I knew a couple of things. I knew, A, it would make me feel better. I knew I could push pause if I have a coughing attack, and then I can edit that out. And I know that it's important for me to follow through with what I say that I am going to do. Now, trust me, I'm not a crazy person. If I'm in the hospital, I'm not recording podcasts, okay? I'm just telling you. All right. I think it helps me heal faster, too. All right. What about when your attitude sucks? You have to be patient because there are going to be times when your attitude sucks. I have some moments during my sickness here, the flu followed by pneumonia. My attitude has sucked a little bit more than a little bit. And I've had to work through those. I've had to reach out to people. I've had to use my skills. I've had to use the things that I've prepared for years and years and years that work when you get in those low points. So do you have that list of things that you can do? You have to be prepared for and be patient when your attitude sucks, which doesn't translate into stop doing what you're doing. You have to be patient and prepared. On those moments, you will give in to food temptation because it's most likely to happen, or you will give in to emotional eating. You've got to be patient and persistent when you want to quit, when you don't feel like exercising or cooking or meal prepping, or when life doesn't go your way, because guess what? It usually doesn't. There are usually 1,000 things that get in the way. Your kid gets sick at school and you got to go pick them up, or your meeting runs late at work and now you're late picking your kids up, and you hadn't meal prepped, and so A million things happen. Tell God your plans and he's going to laugh. Be prepared for when things don't go right. And you can do that by always having your proteins available to you in easy form, right? That's one of the things. All right, now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty here. The most important thing that I want you to prepare for, I don't care where you are in this journey, because it's going to strike over and over and over and over again throughout your journey at different times in your life, probably because it's been there 1,000 different times in your life before. And this is one of the biggest causes of falling off the wagon and staying off the wagon, and one of the biggest ways to steer away from your drishti. It's the diet mentality. Because remember when I told you that not in 20 years has anybody told me that they're having bariatric surgery or they're going on major weight loss process because they are obsessed with a goal weight. Not once in over 20 years has that happened. And yet, you and I both know that people get so hung up on that number, that unrealistic number that is fabricated. You might as well just pull it out of the air or pull out of your rectum, because that's how much validity it has. So my struggle is that people tell me they want to lose weight for these really healthy, wholesome reasons. They want to change their lifestyle because they want to be around longer. They want to enjoy more of what life has to offer. They want to be able to engage in it fully. They want to participate in the lives of the people that they love. And then the diet mentality finds its way into this beautiful journey of health and learning to live a healthy lifestyle. And it shows its ugly face through the words. What's that word? I can't even think because I have drug brain. Goal weight. Yes. All right. So that is major diet mentality. Nobody is having this surgery to get to a goal weight. And if that is true for you, if you are doing this for a goal weight, then my friends, you were either blowing smoke up your own rear end or blowing smoke up both your own rear end and the rear ends of all the medical professionals who have been trying to help you. Because most of you come in and say the right things. I want to have a healthier life. I don't want to die from this. I don't want to die from that. I want to expand my life as long as I can. Those are good reasons to get help. Those are good reasons to work diligently. To get to a goal weight is to be stuck in diet mentality, and that's not where I want to help people go. That is somewhere I absolutely will refuse to help anybody go. I won't do it. You know what? If somebody says, this is my goal weight, I'll say, if that's what we're going to focus on, then you need to find somebody else to work with you, because that is not what I do. That is not what I believe in. I believe in you getting to a healthier weight for your body and accepting that that is where your body is going to go, and then you choosing what you're going to do with where your body is willing to go. And if you focus on your drishtis, if you focus on your whys, and if you are patient and diligent and you put forth the effort, and we can teach you the skills and the tools to do these things even when you don't want to, and if we can get you away from that sickness, I'm talking it's a mental sickness, because it's not mental wellness when you're caught up in diet mentality. It is a sickness that has plagued our society and our culture for generations. And I don't know how long it has plagued your life, but however long it has, it's been too long. And if you want to change that, you have to be willing to let it go. You have to be willing to let it go and really reevaluate what your priorities are here. Are they what you came in saying? That you want that healthy lifestyle, that you want improved health, that you want to prevent bad health down the road? Are those the things you really want? Or do you want a specific weight? Because I can guarantee you, having a healthier life, being engaged in activities you enjoy, spending time with people you love, learning to go beyond bariatrics and have skills for setting boundaries and having healthier relationships and using better communication skills, that is going to brighten your life hundreds fold. I know that because it's done that in my life, and I know that because I've seen so many of you find that in your lives. But I can tell you that if you're going to go right back to this size, this weight, these many pounds, you're shrinking your world to a very small, unhealthy place to live. I understand that maybe it's been a safe place for you to live for a long time. I understand that maybe you need to value that place and that time that kept you sane from other things that may have been happening in your world. But I want to assure you that when you are willing and ready to let go and find your way out of that place that you know to be miserable, living in diet mentality is a very miserable place to be because it's a no-win, for one thing. It's just a no-win. It's full of perfectionism. It's full of shoulds and musts and oughts and judgments and negative self-talk and criticism towards self and anger and resentment toward other people. It's an ugly place to live. And you probably know that because you've probably lived there for a very long time. And you want to get away from that lifestyle. So are you willing? Are you willing to learn? I know that it may be tempting to run back to that place where it feels safe and familiar. But the magic happens outside your comfort zone. And there are resources. There are therapists. There are bariatric coaches. There are dietitians to help you with the dietary part. There are health coaches. There are goal-setting coaches. There are therapists to help you work through the gunk and wade through that and learn the skills. And that is how you get the focus on the healthy Drishti. Because I'm going to say, just like there's healthy selfish and there's unhealthy selfish, meaning healthy selfish says, I'm going to take some time for myself to read my daily motivation, or I'm going to take time for myself to go for that walk, or I'm going to take time to sit in some quiet. Those are healthy selfish things. Unhealthy selfish things are, I'm taking all the time for myself and the heck with the kids and the parents and the dogs and the spouses and the friends and it's all about me. That is not healthy, right? That is unhealthy selfish. So it's finding that balance. And so weight loss programs, bariatric surgery, GLP-1s are like this thing that light people's brains up because it's a source of hope that this will be the solution to the problems. In and of themselves, they are not. As part of a life program, they can be. But in and of themselves, they are a way to get weight off and then maybe keep it off, but not without effort and not without learning and not without persistence and not without patience and not without accepting the realities that it's not going to be a smooth ride like all of the things we've just talked about. So my hope for you is that, of course, we want you to consider bariatric care because just these podcasts have education and information about every single one of the things that will help you prepare to live a healthier life, both in terms of your weight loss journey and building a healthy life in every area of your life, because you're a whole person. You have social life, and your relationships are different. There are different skills to use with partners. There are different skills to use with coworkers. There are different communication skills and boundary setting techniques with children. So there's a lot to learn. And we've talked about in different podcasts that most people just simply weren't taught these things. And they're not things you expect to encounter in your bariatric surgery program. But I tell you what, the people who do dig in and explore all of these things work themselves out of a diet mindset and into a healthy lifestyle mindset. And that, my friends, is where a beautiful life exists. Because if you live only in your world of weight loss, then you're not living a full life anyway. And that is not balance. And so many people have weight loss at the core of their existence for so many years that bariatric care, being beyond bariatrics, is one way to help you expand and work in all the areas of your life so that, these are transferable skills. Just like I gave the example of planning for a beautiful, smooth vacation, and it rarely happens. Before you go on a vacation, talk with your travel people about, okay, what happens if the plane gets delayed? Or what if we have to spend the night, in the town and reschedule for the next day? Do we have what we need to take? One of the things I'm teaching my grandkids, because they, they're kids. And we go on these trips and we get in the car and it's like, I forgot the cords to my whatever play system it is, and I forgot the batteries to this, and I forgot my earphones. And so my husband and I have become very good list makers. We have lists for our trips to the mountains. We have camping lists. We have our Thanksgiving grocery list. We have our Hilton Head list. We have lists for everything. So now, as the kids are getting old enough to get phones, we are making packing lists on their phone. Did anybody teach you that? Well, what if somebody had taught you, you know what? Here's how we plan for things that might go wrong on a vacation. Wow, wouldn't that have been great? It could help your next generation, plan to have a deck of cards with them, or to understand, go to the ticket agent, or make lists for them. Teach them how to handle things, and teach kids how to handle their emotions when they're frustrated with themselves. And then use the same skills that you're teaching them to handle your frustration when you've given into emotional eating. Be patient with yourself. Be kind. Forgive yourself. What steps can you take to prevent this from happening next time? Schools are getting much better at this kind of thing, which really makes me happy about that. But so you might want to make a list based on what you've heard today, understanding that in order to have long-term improved health and an improved quality of life, which is what the beginning of most people's weight loss journeys are about, right? That is the ultimate goal. If you really want that, first of all, understand that it has to be in more than just this one area of your life. This may be your pain point right now, but the things that you can learn in this area of your life, they are all transferable skills, because as you know from listening to these podcasts, you have to learn to stand up for yourself. That can be transferred to your work, your work environment where you may have had difficulty standing up for yourself. The episodes on communication skills, great tools for teaching you how not to be passive aggressive, but to be assertive, which is the healthiest kind of communication, the one least frequently used, because our issues get in the way. All right, so think about the kinds of things you need to continue to prepare for, and it may help you decide what kind of podcasts do I listen to. If I want to go through Connie's, what episodes do I need to look for? What topics do I need to look for? Or there may be ones out there specific to what you're trying to meet. So look for those kinds of podcasts. But remember your Drishti. You can borrow this word. It's a great word. And it means a focal point, maintaining a steady gaze. Because as soon as you get your eyes off that, I want to be a healthy human being and live a healthy life, to I want to weigh a certain amount, you've lost the plot, friends. You have lost the plot. You've found your way right back where you came from, however many diets ago, and that is diet mentality. So we want to keep you away from diet mentality, and one certain way to know that you are in diet mentality is when you get focused on a goal weight. It's okay to have a graph of your weight, as Laura educates us all the time. Knowing your weight is a piece of information, and it can be a very valuable tool. And give it a range, saying, I want to stay within this range because of human fluctuation in weight, and this and that, all those things. And make sure you kind of keep an eye on that graph, but give yourself a range, not a number. Diet mentality is dangerous mentality. Diet mentality is a setup for failure because it leads to the failure behaviors of other diets. All or nothing thinking, deprivation, or I'll have it all. Not healthy behaviors when what you're trying to do is prevent illness, decrease illnesses, decrease the number of medications you're taking, have healthier relationships, be more invested and fully involved in your life. So when you find yourself, know the warning signs of diet mentality, and those are perfectionism. Those are shoulding. I shouldn't do this. I should do this. Knowing when you're not following through with what you say you're going to do. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but it means consistently following through. Yes, there's going to be days when something happens and you can't. That's okay. But that's why we don't say I'm going to exercise 7 days a week. I'm going to go for 4. If I get 5, all the better. If it's 3 that week, I'll be all right. So learning to set up yourself for a healthy win. Set yourself up for the little wins. Learn the tools for not giving in just because you don't feel like it. Learn to tackle that bad attitude when you get the stinking thinking going on. So maybe you need to learn to prepare for stalls. Maybe you need to prepare for learning to deal with other people who don't treat you well. Maybe you need to do some reading on how to keep myself motivated. Maybe you need to do some reading on preventing emotional eating. Whatever your areas are. Stay real, be patient, focus on your Drishti, and understand that improved health and a better life does not equal a goal weight. Improved health and a better life means I have a healthier physiology, I have a healthier mindset, I have healthier relationships, I have a healthier relationship with myself. And I say healthier because it's a process. We become healthier as we learn new tools and we implement those new tools into our lives. It's a lifelong process, but it's a lifestyle. Your physical health is one part of your overall healthy lifestyle. So you may need more attention in that area right now. But if you find yourself falling into the diet mentality, run to the therapist ASAP. All right? So we want to change and clear away the clutter of diet mentality, because before you know it, you'll be right back at the very beginning. And just to clarify, diet mentality is a way of thinking about food that involves rules, should, shouldn't, must not, limits, can't have, all, nothing, judgments. Oh, I'm bad. That's bad food. They're bad for having that. And it's based on temporary goals. It's not, I want a healthy lifestyle. And diet mentality leads to that all or nothing. And oftentimes, friends, it leads back to doing nothing right. We don't want to go there ever, ever again. So we do want to prepare for that diet mentality to try to wedge its way in, because it says, you know me, I'm familiar. You have dealt with me before. You know what to do with this. I don't want to deal with you anymore. I want to learn something new. Change is scary, friends. Change is scary. But the great news is the bariatric community has all kinds of wonderful communities for support, for education, for learning, for fun, for growth. And hopefully you can find some of all of that in the bariatric care program. And we welcome your input. We're going to do some upcoming podcasts with some of the bariatric care members in it coming up soon. So get ready for that and let us know some ideas. I did have a request for fear of success and fear of failure. So I'm going to tackle those topics in the next couple of weeks and in the podcast episode. So get ready and send me your ideas as well. And if you'd like to be a guest on the podcast, let me know. All right, thanks. And I'm going to wrap it up a little on the shorter side tonight, but I am proud of myself for being here with you. And thanks for listening. Prepare yourself and focus on the true Drishti associated with your healthy lifestyle goals. See you next time. Remember, all of this is about your health, which is your responsibility this day and every day. And we're here to help. All right. Bye-bye.